Have you seen interest in young women and boys too? I know you have co-ed camps as well,
Mhm.
growing since you started. And then also, can you compare it to your childhood and the camps that you had? What's been the difference maker? I see on your page, I love that you're incorporating nutrition as well and mindfulness and yoga, just not just hockey. So I love that kids
Mhm.
have access to all of that. But how have you seen that growth in terms of interest and access for kids?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I do love about my camps is they're pretty much inspired by my time with the national team. So we were pretty keen on keeping, journaling and having a notebook during my whole time there. So it's fun to look back on the things that we learned. And shortly after the Olympics, I pretty much took the template of everything that we were taught through the national team, put my own little spin on it, and put together a week long camp plan. And since then, I've tried to grow it throughout the United States. Each summer, I do different locations, and the biggest part for me is I love meeting new people. I love connecting with the younger athletes and their families and making new connections. So when I look at it from a growth perspective and just how excited that so many young athletes are about women's hockey, boys and girls, it's like the icing on the cake for me at my camps.
That's awesome. You mentioned the Olympics. Obviously, we have to mention your gold medal winner with Team USA over Canada. And that's something that, growing up, I actually myself am a Canadian. So I always grew up with the Canada US rivalry. And it was really just Canada US, Canada US. Your wife from Finland. I'm curious to know if you feel like the game for women is growing in Europe as someone who maybe has a little bit more boots on the ground or information there, because it does feel
Yep.
like it's going to be Canada versus the US, but is there going to be more competition coming up?
Absolutely. I think it's already started. I've been a huge supporter, and I think the style of European hockey altogether is super skilled. I mean, you look at Czech, you look at Finland, you look at Sweden. I think that they're knocking on the doorstep, and I don't even know if knocking it on the door knocking on the doorstep is what it calls, because I think they're right there, and it's exciting for our game. Obviously, being an American, I'm still supportive of them, but it is fun that my wife, plays for Team Finland, so there, or what did play for Team Finland. So there's another country to root for and their development, and it's been really fun to watch.
I love that. I love hearing that because it's just nice that the game is growing and that other countries are, getting involved, and that opens up the competition. Even though Canada US will always be the greatest rivalry, I think for years to come still. But good to know that other countries on the women's side are growing the game. Obviously, we have to talk about
Yeah.
what's going on right now in the postseason, and just I'm sure you
Yep.
you don't want to slash it's probably hard to reflect on, the season that was, because it one, you're in the middle of this run, and two, it takes time to kind of look back. But have you had moments yet where maybe, crowd or people stopping you where you're like, wow, this is unbelievable? And if so, what if some of those moments that stood out, what have they been?
Yeah, there's been a few moments. I think specifically, I would say our playoff series against Montreal was like, it was incredible. I mean, their fan base, I think their fan base has been an accumulation of many years of different leagues, and um, it's cool to see how much they showed up in the playoff series. It was really fun to play in front of that crowd. It's always fun to be booed. It's always fun to silence an arena as well, and it just creates a little bit more competition. And I think a lot of people had, we've had chills, goosebumps throughout the season where you're skating out and seeing the result that this league has really promoted, and seeing it in real time. And it's also really, really cool to have young boys be just as excited and wanting to come to our games and watch our games, and the types of messages that I get of people just being really excited and really entertained. Like, they're completely entertained watching just on TV, and it's awesome that it's super accessible on YouTube. And there's just been so much good energy about this year, and I think once the season ends, I'm sure all of us will definitely be reflecting on the progress that we made as a whole.
Yeah, no, I love that you mentioned young boys as well. I think, I'm thinking of myself as a fan in the past. I think we used to be like, well, girls like women's hockey, but it's like, no, guys like it too. And we
Mhm.
just have to get that promotion out there and get that access and pay the players and, make it easier for them to
Yep.
do this. So it's been so nice to watch it grow. I'm going to look at my notes because I want to get the name right, but the Sports
Yep.
Business Journal awarded you guys the Sports Breakthrough of the Year award going to the PWHL League. Is it something you guys discussed as a team? And also just knowing that there are so many different awards, different aspects. You guys, from what I understand, from a little bit of insight, there was a chance that maybe the start of this league would be delayed one more year. That's kind of what I heard, that it was
Mm.
like, okay, can we get this done? But people put their minds
Yep.
together and their resources, and they're like, no, we're doing it this year. And the result has been sellout crowds, record after record being broken. So just as someone who's been part of that, what does that award kind of mean to you, and knowing that the league earned that?
It's pretty cool. We haven't, as a team collectively talked about it, but I did just see it online. I was reading about it. I don't know if it was either yesterday or today. And like I've said previously, it's an accumulation of many years and many people, many women playing before us, staff members, investors that got us to this point. And I think it's even more cool what they've been able to pull off in the amount of time that they were given. And I think kudos to a lot of athletes that, got us to this point, and kudos to the athletes that are the product now. And I think it's only going to get better.
Do you ever walk around Boston or wherever you're traveling and see PWHL merch? Because I obviously living in Boston, I walk around and I see it on people, and I love
Yeah.
that. Do you ever catch that?
Yep. I've seen it. Talked to a few people in coffee shops. If I'm wearing, I think I, I think I for some reason still had my like warm up crew neck on the other day when I walked into a coffee shop, and a young family came over to me and said, "Oh my gosh, have you been watching them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually, I'm on it. I'm on the team. I'm gonna be heading to my game soon." And they were just like, they were ecstatic. They're, the support that we've gotten and the excitement that is across the city has been pretty cool. I think in all cities, quite honestly, all host cities has been
I
awesome.
love that. I love that. I'm sure they were so happy you took the time to talk to them.
Yep.
Hockey players, athletes, men and women, I always find are among the most humble. So I love that. I'm sure you made their day.